Thank you, Scott. We'll check back in Augusta in just a little bit. But in the meantime, it's the last day of the NBA regular season, and there are still 15 of the 20 playoff seeds yet to be determined. Number one seed out west still up for grabs. Thunder, T-Wolves, and Nuggets all tied at 56-25 on the season. According to Elias, this is the first time that three teams in the same conference were tied for the best record through 81 games. Also, still at stake is the 2 seed in the East. Some of the easiest paths for each team include the Bucks, 2 seed with a win. Knicks, 2 seed with a win and a Bucks loss. And then the Cavs, 2 seed with a win and a Bucks loss and a Knicks loss. And then plenty of scenarios involving the 8 through 10 seeds in the West as well. Lakers lead the Kings and Warriors by 1 game, but don't own either tiebreaker. They get the 8 seed with a win. The Kings will win the 3-way tiebreaker if all 3 teams finish with the same record. It's a lot to digest on a Sunday. Nonetheless, to create a little bit of clarity with all this chaos, let's bring in our NBA reporter, Dave McMenamin. And so, Dave, the Lakers are in New Orleans this afternoon to face the Pelicans in the season finale. What are you hearing inside the Los Angeles locker room as LeBron and company try and maintain that 8 seed?
Well, Shay, if you saw that game on Friday in Memphis against a Grizzlies team that was so depleted, missing 13 players, the Lakers still went 41 minutes for LeBron James and 43 minutes for Anthony Davis. And I asked Darvin Ham about that. He said, everybody knows what time of year it is. We need to give everything we have, put it to the center of the table to try to sell out to win all of these games. And certainly you don't plan on playing those guys that heavy minutes against that type of opponent, but they needed the win to put themselves in a position potentially to be in the 7-8 game with a win against New Orleans Pelicans today. LeBron James said he'll be ready for Sunday, even though he played those heavy minutes and even with the early start today. Meanwhile, Darvin Ham also is having assistant coaches not just prep for the game in front of them. Like, obviously there's been a coach assigned to scout the Pelicans for today, but he also has assistant coaches watching other games around them, so they are also simultaneously preparing for a playing scenario against Phoenix, a playing scenario against the Golden State Warriors, a playing scenario against the Sacramento Kings. So they kind of have 1 foot in each the play-in tournament and the regular season as we head into Sunday.
Interesting. Well, the thing to remember here, Lakers avoid that 9-10 situation if they get a win today, which is the most important. Remember, you can watch Lakers and Pelicans later today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN.
10th national title.
That season over, the NBA's regular season done today with so much still at stake. Like the number 1 seed in the West still up for grabs. It's between the Thunder, T-Wolves, and Nuggets, all tied at a 56-25 record on the year. Now, according to Elias, this is the first time that 3 teams in the same conference through 81 games were all tied for the best record in that respective conference. Also still at stake, out east, the 2 seed. Now, the Bucks, they are it with the win. The Knicks, they're the 2 seed with the win and a Bucks loss. And it's simple math at this point. Cavaliers, they get the 2 seed with a win and a Bucks loss and a Knicks loss. Also, plenty of scenarios involving the play-in round out west. The Lakers lead the Kings in dubs by a game and can clinch the 8 seed with the win. The Warriors could still end up with the 8 seed if the Lakers and Kings both lose. Kendra Andrews with the latest on how Golden State is approaching today's pivotal regular season finale.
Warriors coach Steve Kerr said he is much more interested in their ability to be ready for any playoff series next week rather than securing a particular seed. And with that in mind, he said it's likely that some of his main players will rest today against Utah. On Friday, Stephen Curry said he wasn't feeling fatigue and he wants to do everything he can to help put his team in the best possible position. But that final decision won't be up to him. Now, regardless of where the Warriors end up seated, they are confident that they can make a postseason push. Curry said, quote, "We just want to get to a playoff series. However we get there, however we get it done. There is a lot of confidence that we can beat anybody on any given night. We have to hold on."
It's impressive. This will be impressive too. The final day of the NBA regular season gives us a scenario that has never happened before in league history. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Denver Nuggets all have identical records. They all have a shot at the top spot in the West, and incredibly, no team controls its own destiny for the 1 seed. Thunder have one advantage. They host the Mavs, who are resting Luka Doncic and Kyrie. Tim McMahon has the latest.
Run through the finish line. That's the catchphrase you keep hearing from the Thunder this weekend. They're determined to focus on their own steps, not what's happening in the lanes next to them. It's a continuation of the stable, consistent culture that GM Sam Presti and Coach Mark Daigneault have so carefully cultivated in Oklahoma City. It's frankly pretty boring, But the results are remarkable. The Thunder are the youngest team in NBA history with at least 55 wins, and that's only 2 years removed from landing high in the draft lottery. And now, entering the final day of the regular season, Oklahoma City has the best odds of winning the race for the top seed in the Western Conference.
Early games and an early chat with our NBA analyst, Scott Barry, who has over 2 decades of front office experience. All right, Scott, let's talk about the Thunder because their typical starting five are 25 years or younger. They could very well match up against experienced teams like Warriors, Lakers, or Suns. How confident are you in this young Thunder team potentially against a veteran team?
Christina, I'm confident in this OKC team. They just have to trust what they've already established and accomplished this season. Look, they're top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. Those numbers historically represent strong playoff success in this league. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has played like a legitimate MVP candidate the entire season, while Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren have developed into very strong second and third options. So if you're OKC, carry that confidence into the playoffs and don't focus on your lack of experience and just play basketball.
Yeah, so far they haven't played like they have a lack of experience, as you said, Scott. But let's talk about teams who are very well experienced. I mentioned the Lakers and the Warriors. Which of those teams is more capable of making a deep playoff run?
Well, Christina, I'm going to lean towards the Lakers being more capable, and here's why. They have a chance with the win today to ascend to the 8th seed. So now with one win, they're into the playoffs. Whereas Golden State more than likely is going to have to win 2 road playoff games just to make it into the field of 8. Look, the Warriors have been plagued by lack of size all season long. The Lakers do have that size. The Lakers are 4-7 against the top 3 teams in the Western Conference, while Golden State is just 1-10. And let's not forget, the Lakers have one LeBron James who's been to 10 NBA finals. So I think he understands how to win in playoff basketball. So I'm going to lean in on the Lakers.
Yeah, and I know the Lakers want to avoid the play-in tournament, but they made it to the conference finals from the play-in tournament last season. So it